Hi everyone, my name is Christine Mathias. I'm an attorney with Public Good, and this video is all about what California nonprofits should know about bingo fundraisers.
In California, for-profit casino-type gambling is generally prohibited. But there's a limited exception for certain charitable purposes, and that includes bingo fundraisers for nonprofits. But before you go and organize your first bingo night, you should note there are a lot of guidelines to follow, which is what we're going to cover in this video. The state law allows cities and counties to adopt ordinances which allow charities to hold bingo games. But it's ultimately up to the county or city to actually adopt the ordinance. So this means you need to check your local regulations to first make sure bingo is even allowed where your nonprofit is. Your city or county may require you to first obtain a bingo license. So check with your local permitting office to see what exactly they require. And note that many do require a background check for the applicant. The city or county might also impose a license fee, plus any additional fees for public safety costs related to the game. Let's look at some of the requirements for a legal bingo game. First, the game must include tangible, pre-printed cards. That means you cannot use electronics or video displays, with the exception of the caller's drawing of numbers or symbols and the public display of that drawing. So the flashboard where the players can see what's called, that can be on a video display. No one, not the players or the operators, can know the winning cards in advance of the game. And there can only be one way to win a prize, and that's by presenting a marked tangible card to an attendant. And finally, all bingo cards must include a legend which has this specific language. For sale or use only in a bingo game, authorized under California law and pursuant to local ordinance. There are also requirements for location. The game must take place on property that is owned, leased, or donated to the organization. If the property was donated, it must be used by the organization as an office or for another charitable purpose. In other words, the space can't be one that's used only for bingo night. There are also rules about conduct during the game. It must be staffed by members authorized by the organization, and no one can receive compensation from the game, but there is an exception for security personnel. It must be open to the public, no minors, and participants must be physically present during the game, which means that no one can call in or video conference in to join the game. There is a prize limit that's $500 for each bingo game. And there may be additional local rules. Like sometimes we see a limit on how many games per week you can have, or a total prize amount per session. So after the game is complete, you should note there are additional regulations to follow on what you can do with the money. Profits from the game must be kept in a separate fund or account. You should not commingle them with other nonprofit assets. And those funds must be used for the nonprofit's charitable purpose. So there are penalties for violating these rules and holding a bingo night that does not comply with all the regulations. Violation of the charitable bingo law is actually a misdemeanor. You could face a $1,000 fine, 6 months imprisonment, or both. And if an individual, other than security, receives compensation for a bingo game, there's a penalty of up to $10,000. And finally, all bingo prizes would have to be forfeited to the state.